Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we're actually in Newcrest. I never spend time in Newcrest, but I wanted a change of scenery and I wanted to build something that was, I'll say, a little bit bigger than I have been doing in regards to like builds lately, but it's not that big of a house, to be frank. So we're building on the Tranquil Crescent lot. I think it's a 30 by 30, and I was working off of an image that I found on Pinterest to kind of work as inspiration for the shape of this house. Now, I don't know, to me, maybe I'm just completely ignorant to a lot of architectural styles. I try to kind of learn more about this kind of stuff, but the reference image, and I'll put it on screen for you now, I think this was considered a farmhouse plan. And I suppose I can kind of see from the reference, maybe with like the porch and stuff, maybe it's that element or that component that kind of brings it into that farmhouse territory. But yeah, it was considered a farmhouse plan. And to me, it almost looked more, I can't even really say Greek Revival. I've been looking into Greek Revival architecture because it's just beautiful. And I don't know if this really fits the bill. Maybe it would just be like more of a traditional architectural style. I don't really know, but farmhouse didn't really fit for me. But either way, I really love how this house came out. I really, really do. I haven't made something like this that has sparked like a lot of joy for me in what feels like a long time. And I say something like this, I've done a lot of like specialized builds lately, I've realized. Like I did, let's see, I'm trying to think. At the time of me recording this, there's only certain ones that you all have seen on the channel, but I did like a couple of builds that were inspired by New Orleans and Louisiana and Willow Creek, which I really love, but that's like really themed, you know, it's very specific. And then I've done like a ton of apartments, which of course are just apartments, and I've done them in different styles. But I did one build in Del Sol Valley. I don't know if it's been put up on the channel yet at this point. At the point of you seeing this, I don't know if I've actually put it up yet, but it's a very just like simple single story home as well. But I wanted it to fit into that world and kind of blend in a little bit more. And this was more of like a, April, let's go into The Sims and just build a family home with no real plan aside from a very loose inspo image. I don't know if I'm making any like coherent sense, but this just felt like a breath of fresh air for me, especially because it is a little bit of a bigger build than I've done in a while. And I used medium wall heights. Yeah, I did. I used medium wall heights, which I think I did in one of the NOLA inspired builds that I did as well. But that was a little, when I choose to do that because it looks best for an exterior, I kind of like beat myself up a little bit by the time I get onto the interior because I'm just like, oh God, why did I do this? Working with the medium wall height for me is really, really difficult. Can't even bring like the tall wall height into the equation here, like some of the apartments in San Myshuno. But yeah, working with the medium wall height can be really challenging for me, but I love, 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 love how this build came out. I was actually shocked as to how much I liked it. And I'll talk more about the interior when we get there, but just know that it was about 3 or 4 iterations before I landed on something for the interior that I actually liked. And that was really discouraging. Like I was getting very frustrated with myself, but I loved the build so much. I was like, I'm finding something. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find something that I love that fits this build, that's really capturing the vibe that I want to capture. And I did, so I can't wait for you all to see it. But as you can tell, we are working on the landscaping at the moment. And since I was in Newcrest, I just wanted to play around with some different colors and some different shrubs that I maybe haven't used in a while, like especially in certain swatches. Yeah, I guess it's a swatch technically, even though it's a debug item. Oh, wait, that's something. I finally, I hope you're all very proud of me. I finally downloaded the Organized Debug mod. Is that what it is? Organized Debug by Twisted Mexi? Because I use Tool and Better Build By all the time, but I never turn on, I never turn on the Organized Debug option. I think it's just an option with the Better Build By mod. That's embarrassing. But I finally turned it on and oh my God, the ease of just copying and dropper tooling all of the debug items for landscaping specifically. Wow. That made a huge difference in my life. I should have done that a long time ago. But as you can see with the tool mod as well, when I do kind of pluck it out quickly, I think it still needs an update. I don't know if there's been an update. It works fine for me actually sizing objects down, moving them around. Like it functions perfectly fine, but there's a bit of a UI thing when I bring up the actual menu to use it. It doesn't really bother me, but I think since we got the latest update with The Sims, it might need an update, but I could be wrong. It could be something else causing that as well, but it's typically the tool mod, especially since it's the UI of the tool mod that looks a little bit wonky, but doesn't faze me. Just in case you all noticed it, I figured I'd call it out. It could just be me being lazy and not having updated the mod yet. Anyway, I'm just babbling. I did go into the debug menu and I pulled out this very low-lying fence, which I did shrink down a little bit, and I pretty much use it to fence in a majority of the lot. Same with these little debug shrubs from the base game. I really just wanted the landscaping to feel very, I don't want to say full, but I wanted it to fill the lot. I didn't want the lot to just kind of, drift off into the sidewalk. I wanted there to be a defined edge for every single side of this lot. I feel like I'm not making sense today, and I don't know why. So we're moving on to the interior now. We're trying to work out the floor plan, which was hard. It was very difficult, and like I said, it's a bit deceiving. This house is not that big. I think that it is I was able to make it a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, which might be considered big for some of you. I don't know, but for me, I'm able to make much smaller houses with a much smaller footprint with the same amount of bedrooms and bathrooms. So this was surprising to me when I actually worked out the floor plan, but it is because a lot of the living spaces are bigger on the first floor. So we have the dining room, which I loved. I tried working on the dining room first because it's pretty much the first room that you would potentially walk into. There's a little hallway that leads to the stairs, and if you go to the right, it's a living room. If you go to the left, it's the dining room, and then through the double archways is the kitchen. But I wanted to solidify the dining room because it just felt like the centerpiece of the home, and I tried to go really modern at first, kind of like modern contemporary, where I used that chandelier from Life and Death in gold. I had like dark blues and like rustic whites and stuff. Like it was just and a lot of like glass. It was very contemporary and modern, and I liked it, but it wasn't giving me the warm and fuzzies, which I wanted. Apparently I wanted that in this build in particular, so I went with a lot of orangey woods, which I've mentioned time and time again how much I love. I got to use this great big china cabinet thing from Cats and Dogs, and I went with like gray, orangey woods and yellows, and maybe some blue as well. Like I tried to mix a few different colors, but I think for the most part, the primary living spaces, the kitchen, and then the primary bedroom all carry through that particular color scheme. And that TV. Okay, right. I know we've been getting a lot of frame TVs lately in The Sims. Ever since we got the first one, we've gotten a couple others. This frame TV, I think, came with the Secret Sanctuary kit. I want to say that's what it came with, and it has this beautiful swatch of like a beach painting in a gold frame, and I thought it complemented the color scheme of this build with the orangey woods and everything, and the blues and the creams so nicely. I was actually thrilled because it looks beautiful, in my opinion, in this living room. And it was great because I really didn't want to put just like a regular old flat screen TV there. I was almost contemplating putting a mirror or a piece of artwork above the fireplace here. And I kind of got to do that. It's a piece of artwork, but it's also a television. So it felt like a win-win to me. I also grabbed a couple of those decorative pillows that we have from base game to tie in the color scheme with these very cream beigey couches. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I know this couch hates to see me coming. It really does, because ever since we got that swatch update, I genuinely can't talk today. Ever since we got that swatch update, I have been gravitating towards using that couch so much. I've had to stop myself from using it in every single build lately because I really love it. It's probably one of the most realistic and simple couches that we have in game, at least in my opinion, that I can think of off the top of my head. And I always want to use it, or I always did want to use it, but I didn't like the swatches that much. And now that we have more swatches, which we've had for some time, I want to use it all of the time in every single build. I also combined 2 of these little coffee tables from Cats and Dogs. I just added a little flower arrangement at first, but I even pulled back there and just left a candle. And then I put a record player, I think, on one side of this room. And that's pretty much it. I leave the living room very, very simple. And I was also thinking that the family that lives here, because I believe that they have a child or 2 children and an infant, I think is what I was thinking. So it's for a family of 5. But I was thinking that they're very much focused on how their home looks. Not in like a cruel way where their kids like aren't allowed to sit on the furniture or anything like that, but the kids have their rooms. That's where all of like their toys are. That's where they can decorate freely, but they really want their home and all of the primary living spaces to look very much so put together and neat. So you're not going to see any like kids' toys or clutter or anything in these living spaces. They're very polished, if you will. But now we're working on the kitchen, and I do a galley kitchen, which I know I always say I don't enjoy, but it worked for this space, especially with the double archway, because it gave me an opportunity to make a really big island, which I loved. I will go ahead and make a galley kitchen if I'm able to do a big island. You know what I mean? There's a trade-off. And I did play test all of those seats at the island, and they work great. They didn't block anything. Your sim could access any of them. So there's 5 of them. So maybe for just like informal meals, like quick breakfasts and stuff with the kids before school, they're able to all just sit at the island and chat. Or maybe that's where the kids do their homework when they get home and the parents can join them. And the dining table really is for show and for special occasions. That's what I was thinking. But I thought that was really nice. I don't always have the opportunity to have a formal and informal dining space. It usually takes a bigger home or a home with at least a bigger footprint like this one to be able to do that. So I was thrilled with that. I was also trying to put a stove in the island, but with the edge of the actual island pieces, it just didn't look good to me. So I ended up using one of the stove tops from Dream Home Decorator and then adding the oven next to the sink over there just to kind of make it a little bit different. I often put the sink in the middle of an island, but since this was a bigger island, it felt like it would be more of a luxury to have the stove compared to the sink. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I also attempted to add a few more clutter items to the living room, but I really did pull back because I didn't want it to look too crowded. I think I added some of the like fire poker tool things and a little stack of wood from Werewolves just to kind of add those pieces, those decorations, but I didn't add anything else. And then here in the hallway, there's the one and only bookcase, because I didn't put a bookcase in the living room, which I often do. There's the one and only bookcase. I put up a few of those feather decorations found in the miscellaneous from Cats and Dogs. If you didn't know, because I only learned this a couple of years ago, but if you didn't know, those turn into, I can't say paintings, but like wall art when you take out those feathers from the menu. You know, it's been a couple of years ago. I might have done it in builds way back and just not even known that what I was doing. I was just grabbing something. But if you didn't know, just FYI. And now I'm just pulling out a bunch of clutter items for the kitchen. Now, I don't know, at this point of me recording this at this time, there are actually a ton of items that are not showing up in the build and buy catalog since the latest patch. We could be a month and a half out at this point of that potentially being resolved for all I know. But I was definitely missing some things when I was trying to pull out clutter for the kitchen because of that current glitch, as well as just like other clutter items, specifically from, I think, the Everyday Clutter Kit. There's a fair amount that's currently missing, which is really odd. I've never actually experienced that before as a glitch in The Sims, so I'm not really sure what happened. But hopefully by this point, it's very much so resolved, because I was missing a lot when I was doing this build in particular. Like, I was trying to look for the glasses, some of the magazines that you could put on a table. Like, there were just a few things that I was really looking for. I just figured I'd mention it because there are also some base game items for the kitchen, like some utensils and stuff. Some like cooking utensils that were missing, and I was really confused as to why I couldn't find them. I thought I was going nuts. I was like, I know they're in this category. I use them all the time. Where are they? And I thought I was going crazy. But here in the hallway, I did add a piano and whatnot off camera just because I was unsure about the placement, but it ended up working. And then I also added a bench and added a couple of pillows as well, which I don't know why I didn't think about doing this when I've used this bench before, since we've had the pillows. Confused the heck out of me. Like, of course, add some pillows, it'll look a little bit more comfortable. And then down here is going to be a full bathroom. I did consider adding a washer and dryer down here, but I just didn't want laundry in this build, to be frank. Don't know why. Just didn't want laundry in this build, so I did not do that. I just made it a full bathroom, and it's a little bit bigger than my average bathroom, but I liked it because it was just a bit more spacious. I didn't do a double sink, but we do have a countertop with some clutter here as well. And I think with I think with 5 Sims in the house. Oh, actually, you know what I just realized? It's actually a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, because I do have a half bathroom upstairs that the kids can use. And then there's a full bathroom that's off the primary bedroom. So it's not the most convenient, actually, when you think about it, because I would probably want to put a full bathroom upstairs that everybody could have access to. But my thought is that the parents have their ensuite bathroom and the kids have to like go shower downstairs. Now, that's my thought. I don't know. You could do whatever you'd like. Your Sims can use whatever bathrooms they'd like. But yeah, it is an ensuite bathroom off the parents' primary bedroom. So I didn't see the kids using that very often. But they have a half bath, so they can at least, like in the middle of the night, if they have to get up and go to the bathroom, they can run to that bathroom that's right next to, I think, the infant's bedroom, I want to say. But anyway, we are working on the primary bedroom now, and it's a little bit more, I was going to say it's a little bit more neutral, but actually it really does blend. I didn't bring in a lot of like blues and stuff in here. I wanted to keep it with kind of these orangey wood tones, sandy brown comforter, the grays, and then some of the yellows in the wallpaper. And that's pretty much it. And it's also very plainly decorated, but it doesn't feel under-decorated, if that makes sense. And then I also added a desk with a computer in here, so this is exclusive for the parents. The kids cannot touch it. They don't necessarily have a family computer. Maybe these parents are vehemently against their kids being able to have free access to a computer or technology like that until they're a little bit older, maybe until they're teenagers or something. I would say in this day and age, I sound old. In this day and age, that would probably be, I don't know. Would it be unrealistic? Because I don't have kids. I don't have kids in school or anything like that. But I know a lot of schools are very like tech integrated, and kids use like laptops and iPads and stuff like in class. I don't know if that's every school district, of course, but I hear it more often than not. And I think especially during the pandemic when distance learning was very, very big. I mean, kids were forced to use technology to be able to participate in everything, and it was really challenging. So anyway, my thought was, I don't know how realistic it would be to try to keep your kids away from technology like that in the home, but I guess in the home is where you have the most control over something like that. So I guess it could make sense. I don't really know where that ramble came from. I think I was thinking because when I was younger, we had dial-up internet. Yes, back in my day. And you did not have free access to internet in my household. And if you tried to sneak onto the internet, you learned quickly that maybe your mom was on the phone upstairs and her call got dropped, so she knew immediately that you tried to get onto the internet. Maybe that's what I'm kind of thinking here is I didn't have free access whatsoever. And even when I got a computer in my room as a teenager, I did not have, you needed like a Wi-Fi connector back in those days as well. And I did not have Wi-Fi on my computer. So it was plainly for me to use like Microsoft Word or to play games. Because also back then, games were not like, what is it called? They were not like on-demand games, live service games. There we go. So I was able to just like play games and not have to be connected to anything. That really shows my age, doesn't it? I really don't care. I'm 32, if you're wondering. Anyway, we're working on the infant's room now. I quickly decorated the half bath for the kids, and then we work on the infant's nursery, and I love it. It's kind of like this gentle, plushy, pink, orangey woodland themed. I think it's so adorable. I haven't used this wallpaper from Cottage Living in what feels like a really long time. Same with this rug. So I was like, you know what? We're going all out. We're doing it. We're just going to use those things. And unfortunately, the only crib, with this particular crib that I chose, there is the orangey wood tone, but there isn't like a plush pink mattress that is paired with that frame. So, oh well, so you got a little bit of blue in there. Who cares? Because I also put up that mobile from the Storybook Nursery kit, and it's pink and blue, so it ties in perfectly. And this was a pretty decent sized nursery as well. I'm realizing that nurseries, it feels like you need more room than a kid's room because of like the changing table and the crib and everything like that. And I always love adding gliders or rocking chairs to my nurseries. So I feel like I need more space for a toddler or an infant room than I do a kid's room. Like I could put a kid in a closet, like a closet space. You know what I mean? I could put a kid in like a 2x3 and make it work potentially, but an infant or a toddler potentially, not really. I would never do that. I would never make a 2x3 bedroom on purpose, unless it was for a very specific themed build, but I wouldn't make that sacrifice to try to give an infant like a huge room. Do you know what I mean? That just doesn't seem fair. I don't think I would do that, but The nursery is done, and now we're going to be working on the kids' room. So I was saying that they had 3 daughters, so this is a household of girls. You know what? Like, maybe there's a dad, and maybe dad is completely outnumbered at this point because he's got 3 daughters and his wife, or who knows? I didn't really think about the dynamic of the parents, but there's definitely 3 daughters. So I don't know, maybe someone's being outnumbered somewhere. But I really liked this room. I wanted it to be a little bit more mismatchy while still pulling a lot of the same colors in. And this was a really weird shape for a room. I did struggle with this one a lot because there is this kind of like long piece to it that's tucked away, and I didn't really know how to lay out the space at all. It was really challenging to do because I wanted there to be at least an activity or two for these kids in here, but the layout did not really allow for me to do too much of that. I think I get a creativity table in here, and this was the perfect opportunity to use this bookcase from the Pastel Pop Kit that I almost never use. So I really wanted to use that, but it's a big piece. I even sized it down a little bit. I wanted to use this wardrobe from Horse Ranch, and I was like, how the heck am I going to lay this out? Like, what am I going to do? There's just not enough space in here. So I do change how things are laid out a fair amount. I think I put these little cube organizer things over here in this little nook, if you will. I have the wardrobe and the creativity table on that wall, and then I just add like random toys and clutter and wall decorations, like a mirror and stuff like that, just to try to fill the space, because it was really tough. This was a tough room. I feel like there could be plenty of other options on how to lay this room out. And here I was saying, like, I can make a kid's room with a 2x3, and this is definitely not a 2x3, and I struggle to do it. So I take it all back. But it was a really odd shape, I think, to try to fill. And I also loved using this wallpaper from, I just hit my mic. I really liked using this wallpaper from the Pastel Pop Kit, as well as these beds from Dream Home Decorator that I feel like I haven't used in a long time. It was just fun. It was fun. I can't say it's my favorite kids' room. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty honest with you guys. This is not my favorite kids' room. I've done a handful of kids' rooms recently that I really, really loved, but I think it worked out. It got the job done, and I liked the color scheme. You know, it's okay. We don't always have to love every single thing we create. You know what I mean? Like, I love this house. I love a majority of it. This is probably my least favorite room. Like, that's all I'm going to say. It's probably my least favorite, but it still came out, I think, really, really cute and fit the Sims that I envisioned being in here. So I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of all that matters. But I spent a lot of time in here because I didn't really know what to do with it. But we're pretty much almost done with this room as well. I think I just add, I want to say the little teddy bear, like doctor kit thing as well. We've got like a speaker here. Of course, we have the bookcase, we have the creativity table, and we have a couple of toys. So there are some things for the kids to do in here. Again, since all of the kids' things are restricted to their rooms, I wanted to make sure that they actually had things to do up here. And I know I've said this before, but a lot of the items, not only in just The Sims 4, but specific to like kids, they're also really big. Like that chemistry station is really big. The scout board isn't that big, I suppose, but like the creativity table's got a decent footprint. Like they're just big chunky items, and I feel like you can't fit everything in one room half the time. But now we're working on the backyard, where I've got a pool that I made off camera. We have a little picnic area. We have a grill, a couple of lounge chairs, and a swing set. And I left the porches pretty much free of anything because I just liked how it looked. Again, this family is like very into, I'm not gonna say very into appearances, but they want the primary living spaces in the outside of their house to look like pristine. So they didn't clutter up their porches with like chairs or anything like that. But we're pretty much actually at the end of the build as well. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
The shadows of this quiet town, I see you there, your feathers on the ground. Your eyes are heavy with the weight of the world, what's in a life you never could offer. Even if you never flown before, you can take a chance and try once more. Don't let your worries weigh you down, down, down. You can still take flight, although you're earthbound. Never learn to rise above these crowds, stuck in the dust of the life that you found, with nowhere to go, no higher ground. Even if you never